Oh, I am so excited. Good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of the day you're listening to this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Breaking It Down with Boston. And I am at the top of the world to tell you a little bit about our next guest. I mean, there aren't enough words. I'm sure everybody knows who this person is, but we have Coach Dawn Staley, a renowned figure in the world of women's college basketball, known not only for her impressive coaching career, but also she is known for her commitment to empowering young women, empowering them, listen to that word, on and off the court. As the head coach for the University of South Carolina women's basketball, go Gamecocks, go Gamecocks, and a three-time Olympic gold medalist, Coach Staley, her leadership, her mentorship has changed the lives and made a profound impact on so many young ladies, because she not only focuses on basketball, but she emphasizes character development, personal growth, along with basketball excellence. And I can proudly say that Coach Staley has made one of the biggest impacts on my family, as she has had such an important and big role in the lives of my children, Alexis and Aaliyah Boston. Coach Staley, welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Boston. I really couldn't wait until you started your own podcast. I know we talked a few years ago about you parting your knowledge on the world with so many things that you're great at. I know a lot of people know of Aaliyah Boston, but surely they will now know why Aaliyah is the way that she is. And that's thanks to you and Mr. Boston. So we get a glimpse inside of the family that prays together, that stays together, that's so faithful and succeed together. So thank you for doing this.
No, thank you, Coach. Thank you. And before I even get into talking about Coach Dawn Staley, I want to give people an insight into the wonderful, just without the coach, Dawn Staley. This podcast is about just having, I said it in the beginning, ordinary discussions with people to share information and give them an insight that they think, you know, when you want to make changes in your life, you sometimes believe it's too much for you. And when you look at people who have become successful, you say, okay, they've been there, but they don't always know the backstory. And we're about empowering everyone that joins us on this journey, talking about faith, finances, family, showing them that any and everything is possible. So I know that coaching was not your initial plan, but your love for the game, your strong leadership qualities, you know, it has enabled you to not just go into coaching, but excel at it. And it's obvious that your competitive spirit, and I could attest to that, your competitive spirit, your work ethic, and your desire to inspire these young ladies, like to inspire them, I said that already, has allowed you to, you know, just totally immerse yourself in this role and succeed at it. Tell me, Coach, how important is it for individuals to stay open to lifelong learning, change and personal growth, development? How has that mindset shaped you on your journey?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think first, before anyone becomes who they are, a lot has to do with the type of household they were in or the type of situation they were in. Because I mean, some people who've grown up in two-parent households have excelled and not excelled. There are people who've grown up in one-parent homes that have excelled and not excelled. I mean, there are people who were brought up in the foster system that have failed and far exceeded what anybody else thought they could. So I think is utilizing your situation to benefit you in a way that allows you to grow. Like this this life that we're given is about growth. It's about learning every single day. It's about sharing. It's about being vulnerable. It's about it's about people, like people you allow in your life very closely, or people that you allow in your life from afar. All play a role in your life. It all depends on how you internalize it and how you see it and how you allow them to navigate through your life. And only you are the person that controls that. So, and I, for a very long time, probably because I was shy growing up, that I didn't let very many people in my life. I wasn't very trusting. Um, and I think that has shaped me into the person that I am today, because when you're shy and you don't trust a whole lot, you observe and you listen. You observe a lot of things, and that shapes you as well. So I think it's a combination of things, but I don't take myself too seriously. I don't, and I'm always on a quest to learning and the bettering situations, bettering my life, helping young people better their life, helping strangers. Because if I have some information that I can part way to a stranger, I'm gonna give it up. I'm gonna give it up because this world is there's so many there's so many people that really just want. We don't have enough givers. So I hope that I've given more than I've taken, and I hope that what I've given has really been instrumental in people's lives, because I truly give from my heart.
And that is what this program is about: giving, sharing information, because not everyone have been blessed to be able to walk certain paths. And when you do and you learn things, you want to share it. Even if it might be simple, you want to share it, because if it can help change someone's life. Now, people would look at you and wouldn't have believed that you were shy and scared of things. How do you approach the fear or the uncertainty that often comes along with embracing new roles, new challenges as you grow in your life?
Well, I mean, I think we all have a certain level of fear with the unknown. Um, you know, and there's things that come in your life that come at awkward times that you just have to deal with. I don't get too high with the highs or low with the lows. I really don't. Like, I just try to stay in the middle, and I can process things from being in the middle. Because when you process things when you're at the low, you know, it's a lot different than when you're in the middle. When you process things when you're at the very high, I think you lose out on something because you think you've already arrived. So nothing else, can top that. With me, I just stay in the middle. So I think about what the outcomes could be, um, whether I decided to go this way or that way. Like, I do think about outcomes. I'm not a knee-jerk reaction person. So I'm a processor. Sometimes it takes a day for me to process things. And that doesn't make me not smart. It doesn't, because some people can answer a question like this and have the right answer.
Right.
I need to process it. I need to go through my chain of, hey, if I did it this way, hmm, could this hurt somebody? If I did it that way, could it hurt somebody? And then sometimes I just stay right in the middle where, I try the path that would least hurt someone, or have an ability to explain myself to where, even though it hurt, it comes from a place of, respect, of not wanting to hurt, but just sometimes the truth lies in hurt and pain.
I I can attest to that. I can really attest to that. And you said something about not being too high, not being too low. I've heard that for 4 years continuously from Aaliyah and Alexis. If anybody has interviewed Aaliyah, you would have heard her say that a million times. What role, because that means your mindset has to be set a certain way to be able to think like that. And we're about helping each other make changes in our journey so that we become the people God intended us to become, and we live the life that not just what we want, but what we deserve. And He wants us to have a good life. What role does spirituality and faith, and now we're going into Don Staley, the coach.
Yes.
What role does spirituality and faith play in your life, and how does it shape your ability to process what you go through? And one other part, what strengthens it for you?
I am a faithful woman. I am a woman that grew up in a household where I had a praying mother. Every time the church doors opened, my mother was there. And I'm the youngest of 5. So she was not leaving me home by myself or for my older siblings to take care of. So I grew up in the church, whether I liked it to go as much as she wanted me to go or not. But when you're there, you can't help to know where your strength comes from. Like I always say my path is divinely ordered, and it can't be divinely ordered unless you have a relationship with God and you really understand it. Because I have an incredible understanding of who I am, where I come from, where my strength comes from, and I have a thirst for the word, like the word. And for me, I pray every decision I make. I pray, and I pray that, 1, I don't hurt anybody. 2, that I have great discernment. 3, that I can always make my mother proud, because I know that she only wanted her children to be successful. And that success is of not just sports, just successful. Like, my sister battled cancer, leukemia. The fact that she walks every day, the fact that she loves her life, the fact that she fought, like you don't, and she was diagnosed with my mother after my mother passed away. So my mother's legacy of prayer, faith, finding your strength in the Lord lives with us, because there's no way that my sister would have been able to hear the diagnosis, right? And tackle the chemotherapy and everything that came with it without having had the strength from above. So we know it was forced on us, but when it was no longer forced on us, we knew you need somebody. This world needs somebody to force religion on some of these people in our world, because our world is made up of some people that don't know Jesus. So so I know him, and I don't force my religion on my team or my players or our staff, but they know. I let it be known why we are as blessed as we are.
And you led right into my my next question. What type of practices do you put in place? Even like you say, you don't force it on your team, but to encourage them to get deeper in their faith, because this basketball environment, I mean, the world itself is a handful, but you have to be mentally strong. You have to be mentally strong for what comes. And so how do you put, what type of practices do you put in place just to help them, that for those who may not have known who God is, they can, say, hey, maybe we need to look at who this God is, or for those who do, to continue to keep him in their focus?
Well, I mean, some of the things that we do each and every game. I mean, we have a daily word, a game day word, and sometimes is of scripture, And sometimes it's just famous people part in knowledge on our team that give us perspective. And that's sorry, that's champ. That's champ.
Okay.
That's the spirit's moving in champ. What can I say? But it is that, like, it is that, Coach Boyer's very, very spiritual. She sends me her daily word all the time. One of my former players' moms, Tiffany Mitchell's mother, sends me a scripture every single day. So sometimes it's not just me, it's just people who are again, my mother forced it on me. Some of my people are just forcing it on me. You have always been, exemplary when it comes to showing your faith and making us all realize and know where your help comes from. And Elias and Alexis's paths are divinely ordered. So yes, I am surrounded by it. So there's not just one thing that I do. I surround myself around people who really are led are led by their religion, their Lord, their Savior, whatever it is that allows you to walk a straight path is I'm surrounded by those people.
And that is such a joy, because I remember I used to send Aaliyah and Alexis a scripture verse, and every single day a devotional. And then the list got bigger. It included Bree Beal, it included Zaya, it included Camilla, it includes Raven. And I still do it up to today. I've been out of the school for over a year, and I still send, and not one of those young ladies have come out of the chat, so I still send them. Victoria is away, and I send it to her on WhatsApp so she can get it internationally in Belgium every single day, because I feel we have to encourage them. The world is hard, and if we are taken out of their lives in this moment, I just want us to have prepared them to know that God is still good. Now, a little bit more into the coaching role, because you have seen a lot of talent over your years, a lot of talent. What draws your attention to players other than their talent?
Well, the talent is the initial thing, and then we take it to the next step in our process. We make phone calls, and then within those phone calls, we have an understanding of a glimpse of who people are as people, what their characters are, and I'm drawn to good character people. I really am. Not much like great talent. I'm drawn to the character of someone, and I often said this, and not even often these days, like, I will not recruit anybody that doesn't respect their parents. I won't. I don't care how good they are. So, you get a glimpse of who they are, how they act, how they treat their parents, how they talk about their families. They, young people don't don't really sometimes understand that, yes, we are attracted to your talent, and yes, we are attracted to all those other things that make up who you are, because your talent is just a part of who you are. It's not who you totally are. So I want to know who you are, your total self. And I know young people don't always come with everything they need to be of good character, because life helps us with that. But there are just some things, some just respect things, that we try to pull out of young people when we talk to them to see who they are. So not only are we looking at them, they're also looking at us to figure out who we are. And I hope that the young people that I've talked to that have come to South Carolina, and those who haven't, really walk away from my conversations with them knowing that we have a standard. I have a standard, a high standard, and a high bar for them, because I know how incredibly competitive this world is. Not just this game, this world is incredibly competitive, and one look may be your demise. One word in a conversation may turn someone off. So I'm I'm here to help young people navigate through that, and just through conversation. So yes, the more and more I talk to people, the more and more I get an understanding of who they are, what they stand for, and how they would represent their families, our program, and the game of women's basketball.
Excellent point. And that applies for more than just athletes. That's for young people as a whole, because you said the world is competitive, not just the game. So I know I'm guilty of this. I'm a very hands-on mother. But when it comes to young people getting ready to go to college, how important do you think it is for us as parents to be able to let's step back a little, not the whole thing, but step back a little and allow these young people to grow and be able to learn as they enter their new journey in life? And this could be athlete or non-athlete. You're coming to college. How important is it for us as parents?
I think it's important that parents have an understanding of, especially parents of athletes who get scholarships. I think they have to have an understanding of who they're sending their child to. That's very, very important. To who, and then the more you trust the coach and the coaching staff, the less involvement you need to be. But there has to be involvement before you reach that point, because you just can't turn your child over to anyone. I do think that your parents are a part of the village. They are in the village, deep in the village. We are just a part of it as a coaching staff. We're just a part of it, and we don't know everything. Like, Aaliyah came to us. She was 17 years old.
Yes.
Young. Like, you knew her for 17 years. I got to know her for maybe 2 years prior to her coming, and I knew her when she was 15. Like, I don't know enough about her. I know what I see. I know the conversations that we've had, but she hadn't really been through anything, But until she's been through something here in South Carolina, whether it's mentally or physically, that's when I start building trust with her, to know that everything's gonna be all right. Same with Alexis. The conversations that we had, I think they walk away knowing I had their best interests at heart. So you knew when to push and when to pull, and I have no issue with it. I welcome everybody. Like, I welcome their friends. I welcome their boyfriends, their girlfriends. Like, I welcome them all, because they are a part of the village. Now, they may not want everybody. May not want me to know everybody, but I'm willing to include. I'm inclusive, because I only want them to win. And if you're spending time with someone, significant time with someone that can detract you from the ultimate goal, we all got to be in the same circle, having the same synergy, because if you don't, then they're going to detract. And we can't have that, not on my watch.
The ultimate goal. You said it all the time. And you're so absolutely correct, because as much as I know I'm a hands-on mom, I think I asked all the questions when we were on these official visits. But when you sent your child or your children to someplace that has the values that you have their ultimate best interest at heart, it actually makes it easier not to be as hands-on as you thought you would have been. And I'm living proof of that.
Listen, Mrs. Boston, I'm going to tell you this. You need to, I told you need to write a book. Like, I did, because parents need a manual, like a recruiting manual, because you have it. You have the questions. You're very inquisitive. You ask pointed questions. I mean, you ask things that, I had to say, hold up, let me go get that. I don't have it right now, but let me get back with you. I'll get it. And that is what parents need to be asking, especially nowadays. I know we're in a space of NIL, and people want to run to the highest bidder. And sometimes, money's great. If someone offers something that you'll never in your lifetime have in one sitting, go for it. But just understand that it may be at a sacrifice of some other stuff. But that's the chance that you have to take. Which, if you're okay with that, you're okay with that. I'm okay with it. But if you have, and I always talk to young people about this, non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables when it comes to making a decision? What are they? And that's who the core. Some of them are the core value of who you are. Some of it is, proximity to home. For me, a non-negotiable when I was going through the process was I had to have a nice dorm. It was a non-negotiable when I was going through the whole recruiting process. I mean, I could deal with everything else, but I grew up in a household it was 7 of us, 1 bathroom. So I was like, I don't want to go to a place where it's 7 of us trying to clamber into a bathroom. 2, maybe 4, but 7. So you have to understand, you have to know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, you could be sold anything by us. And we're in a position of persuading. We're in a position of, trying to get you to actually not see some of our weaknesses and only our strengths. And when you're making a decision based on just somebody's strengths, you might be barking up the wrong tree. So you gotta know, like I have weaknesses. I have weaknesses. But my weaknesses are some people in our coaching staff strengths.
Right.
So I know what they are with me. So I gotta balance it with the people that I work with every day.
And it's funny because Coach Walt said to me when we were going on the recruiting, I used to bend his ear to get a lot of questions. And he said, ask coaches the exact question you want to know. They're not going to lie to you. The problem comes in when you don't ask the questions. And you just said, I asked pointed questions.
Yep.
And that was on purpose because I surrounded myself. The things I didn't know, I surrounded myself with people who did. And that would then empower me to know what to do. But the words that I used for Aaliyah, I said, know your worth. So when she came to me, because she had the top of the top, the best of the best, I said, know your worth. And that's a non-negotiable. If your worth isn't going to be seen and taken for the value that you are, I said at the beginning of this that I want us on this journey to live the life we want. But it's not just living the life we want, it's living the life we deserve. And knowing your worth changes everything. And that's a mindset that we have to put in our children today so that they don't settle. You mentioned NIL. That was next on my list. I promise you, I didn't just say that. With the advent of NIL opportunities, name, image, and likeness, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Before people were looking for schools based on if you had enough people in my position, or if you had this, or how soon would I get on the court. Now it's, show me that NIL. And we were excited for it. But how do you educate your players on the importance of making good financial decisions and managing the income they generate?
For me, I try to get our players representation. Because when they get an agent, the agent will cover most of that, right? And then I hope that I have a relationship with our players to where if they had any financial questions, not even just our players, the parents, any financial questions, if I know the answer, I'm gonna give it to them. If not, I'm gonna get the best of the best. We had Zooms with the parents about financial literacy, where we had a financial advisor, a wealth management person, come on to a Zoom and talk about what needs to happen with this money. Like you were far beyond. Like you could have taught the class, you could have taught the Zoom, because you've had Aaliyah and Alexis saving money for a long time. They didn't get it. They didn't get it in the beginning, but now they do. And I know Aaliyah is as tight with her money now. Like, and it's a great thing, because this chunk of money, we don't know how long it's gonna last. We don't. I hope Aaliyah has, a 20-year career in playing the game. But if she doesn't, I know that she's gonna be all right from a financial standpoint, because she's had a mother that was forward thinking. She surrounded herself with, great people to be her representation. And then, she's not frugal. She will only buy what she needs. And then if she's gonna splurge, then she probably have set aside money and let it build up for her to splurge. And that's a great life lesson. That's a great life lesson. And then now she doesn't really have to spend anything. She's got an endorsements with Adidas. She's got all of these things. Like when you start to make money and make a lot of money, people give you free stuff. So now she's getting free stuff. She probably can walk in a restaurant and it's like, it's on me now. And it's legal for her to take it too. So that's so very cool. So I just think that the more information that you give, not only more information I give to our players and their parents, it's going to hit somewhere. Like somebody's going to get their information and utilize it. Like I say to our players, I say to them, if they save their cost of attendance, right? Just their cost of attendance, put it away for 4 years. In 30 years, they're gonna be a millionaire.
Absolutely.
I mean, do they really need it? I mean, there's so much other money around here that's a chunk of money. You just say, hey, put it away. Let it go somewhere. So I don't think they think like that right now. I know you took half of Elias and Alexis. I know you took half of it.
I want to share something with you, Coach. Hold on. Let
Yeah.
me see if I can share my screen for half a second. Hold on.
All right.
Let's see if this is going to come up. I want you to listen to these couple seconds of this clip. Doing a good job. You're not quite there yet, but you are saving more. I'll give you that.
Good job, sister. Round of applause.
I'll give you that. And I did something with you guys in college, even before NIL happened. You guys got a cost of attendance.
That you took?
That one? Yes, that one.
Thank God to our Father you didn't take the whole thing. If it was up to you, boy, I don't even know what I
wouldn't have none.
Really?
Yeah, and it didn't even help with Coach Staley. Coach, I hope you listening. I hope you listening, because you know you in the wrong too. You know you're in the wrong. Alexis, remember that one time? I think we just came out of practice and we had like hella messages on our phone. Yeah. What were they? About what?
Cost of attendance.
Our money. Our money.
Yep.
You can take more. Mm-hmm. Coach, I hope you do that. I hope you do that now. I hope you do that now to those kids.
It's so funny that you talked about that, because I had that sitting there. I said, I need to show what they said about me and you.
You know what? I mean, it's the best thing. Like, in the whole grand scheme of things, they don't even really miss it. It's gone. It's doing great things, and they really don't even miss it. So yes, since you were doing that, when the cost of attendance went up, I let you know it went up, so you need to take more out.
And I will never forget that. But that goes back to what you said earlier about knowing who you send your children to having that relationship with the coaches who are going to have your children's best interest at heart. The amount of money that those kids got in school before NIL came into existence, they didn't need it. And now they have accounts that has money in it, good companies, whether they go up and down, they don't need it now. But by the time they reach 59 and a half, they got something set aside. So I can always be in debt to you and appreciative of how you looked out for me and send me those messages.
Yes. You're thank me later, mom.
That's right. That's
thank
right.
me later, mom. Yes.
That's right. So I am so happy that you took our side to that. Now, I had a couple questions that person spoke, and they said, find out from Coach Staley, how does she handle conflict with her team?
I'm a communicator. Like, I'm one that, here's how I operate. This is my moral compass, my internal compass is look, sound, feel. If something looks, sounds, or feel off, I'm addressing it like right away. If something looks, sounds, or feels good, I'm addressing it because I want more of that.
Right.
So everybody has it. Every single person has that type of discernment where if something just sounds off, you will scrunch your face up, or you have a certain look, or you do a double take, or you process it. And that's me. Like that is totally me. So I handle conflict in the same way that I handle, like, something that happens positively. So it's look, sound, feel. We all have it. We all react to it. We all react to it differently, but it is a sign that tells us something sounds right or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you, what do you tell young ladies that, you had all of these young ladies got drafted last year. What do you tell them as they come into the program, as they adjust from their freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior year? What do you tell them in terms of getting them prepared for the next level? I heard a lot of compliments this year, and every time someone spoke to me about Aaliyah's adjustment to the league, or when I hear people talk about Asia's adjustment or Alicia, like, what do you tell these young ladies in terms of getting them prepped and ready for the next level?
Well, I mean, what I first do is I meet every individual player where they are in their process, and it differs from person to person. With Aaliyah specifically, Aaliyah came in as a freshman, and I couldn't believe the Aaliyah that came in the very beginning. Like, she never talked. And that's the one thing I heard her do constantly, when I saw her play. And then she comes and she's just like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I can't hear you. But she was allowing the older players to lead her, which ain't bad. It's not a bad quality, but you don't want to dummy yourself down because of who you're hanging around with. So I told her I needed to hear her. Like, I need to hear you. This is who you are. And then once that took place, we were a much better team. I would say someone like Zaya. Zaya wanted to be in the league before she wanted to be in college, right? So with Zaya, you almost had to tell her, hey, don't think about the league. Like, she's in her freshman year. Like, should I be thinking about, the W? No. Let's get this other stuff. Let's get these pro habits. Let's talk about how do you get a return on your investment, the amount of time you spending in the gym, and what your efficiency is, and then Rebuild scored a lot of points in high school, yet, her role was, not the first or second option. So it took her an adjustment to embrace that role. And I didn't mean it for it to be a role in which she does not shoot at all. It's just for us to be as successful as we needed to be, somebody had to be a defensive stopper. And, she took on that role and she thrived in it. LA, I thought LA was super gifted, like could do everything on both sides of the basketball. LA just tried to do too much all the time. So when she was doing that, she had to fall back a little bit and just get efficient in other areas of her life. Of her game. And then, when she's coming in off the bench, I knew she was gonna hurt somebody. Like she was that we needed coming off the bench. So it is always talking to them about pro habits and what pros are doing. And the biggest thing is here, the mental part of the game is what's the separator at the next level. Yeah, you gotta shoot the ball. Yeah, you gotta make good decisions. But yeah, you gotta turn the page quickly, whether you made a mistake or whether you just knocked down a three. If you don't turn the page quickly, you're going to be a liability on either side of the basketball. So it is getting them to think like a pro, play like a pro, getting into the gym, getting into the weight room, taking nutrition seriously. It is all of those things. So when it's time for them to make the jump to the next level, they aren't trying to build habits. They already have them. So they could really concentrate on how quickly you need to learn these plays and these concepts and these defensive schemes. So I think we prepared them for that.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that. And I know these coaches can attest to that because they've seen it. Now, we just talked about those players who are in college. What do you think is like one of the biggest adjustments for high school players coming into college that you don't really hear us talk about as much?
I would say when you make the jump from high school to college, there's a crash course of everything coming at you from a social standpoint, from an academic standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, now from an NIL standpoint. So you got all these things coming together. And if you don't manage your time, it will be just that. Something's going to suffer. So for us, we just try to plan their day out. And within that day, we give them time to do all of those things. But we know if socially it's taking up some space, some of their academic space or their basketball space, like we know it shows. And I've been coaching, this is my 24th year now. Like I know when players are not doing what they're supposed to do in those areas of nutrition, weightlifting, academics, like it changes. Their habits change and they don't even realize it. And once your habit changes, we know you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And then if you approach them about it, they'll be like, who told on me? Who told on me? Ain't nobody told you, told on you.
Told on yourself. You told on yourself. Yeah. And that's because you're observant. Now, as we get ready to wrap up, what is your hope for the young women that you mentor?
My hope is that they find what it is in their they find a passion. That's one. Because when you are waking up every day and you're doing what you passionately love to do, it's easier. You can think easier. You can problem solve easier. You can love easier. You got standards. It's easy to weed out people who aren't going in the same synergy that you need to go in. Like that's what I want. Like I actually want them to be me. In that, and then I'm living my passion. And I didn't even know it was my passion because I didn't want to coach, but now it is. Like I'm a dream merchant, so I want them to find their dreams, and I want them to live out their life with passion, with with what they love to do. And it sounds so simple, and it can be that simple. We choose people in our lives that complicate it though, or we make decisions that will complicate things, which isn't bad either, because those are the things that will allow you to grow and understand what you want in your life and what you don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't grow from everything being okay. We stay at that same level. But, you know, I heard someone say one time that the biggest obstacle, I might say it a little wrong, but the biggest obstacle to great is good. We settle for where things are good and we're not pushed to grow and to strive. Before we go, I know we heard him at the beginning. We heard Champ. Give us a lovable Champ story. Give us something about Champ. And before you say your Champ story, I have one. Alexa said that you guys were doing something on the court, some type of activity, and Champ ran out, and she almost ran over Champ. And then she came quickly to you after, and she's like, "Coach, is Champ okay?" And you were like, "You better be thankful Champ is okay. You might be out of a job if you want."
Yeah. Hey, true story. True, and that's a true story. Because I think Champ has been scarred, like from that moment. Because he ran on that court. I think a ball almost hit him. But I don't remember my life before Champ. Like he has been, he's been my everything. Like life is a lot easier to take because I got somebody that is always by my side, that loves me unconditionally, right? Like he's the best. I really lucked out in who he is and his personality, and he just loves me for who I am. And he does make turnovers feel a lot better.
He's sitting there to tell you, "It's okay, Mom. It's okay."
Yes.
Coach, I'm going to ask you to give any words of wisdom as we wrap up to just parents, young people that's coming into school. But I want to take this moment before you do that, just to say thank you. Thank you, not just for coming on this podcast and for encouraging me over these last few years, but thank you for who you are in our lives. You're no longer just Coach Staley. You're family to us. And I know we're family to you, and I can boldly say that, and because that's just the relationship you have, not just with us, but with your players and your former players. And it's evident when I watch you courtside with Asia, when I'm texting with you, when you're courtside with Aaliyah, and you're talking to her before she heads in the back at halftime to make sure she corrects what needs to be done. I mean, you don't leave their lives and they don't leave yours. But when our kids make a choice that has their best interest at heart, and it has been seen throughout the past 4 years for us with our girls in your presence, I am forever eternally grateful to God for his blessings and for guiding us to you. So any words of wisdom that you would like to share, go right ahead.
I just want to say, I'm truly thankful, like to coach at the University of South Carolina, the relationships that I've built over this 23-year career, 16 here at South Carolina, 15 at South Carolina, 8 at Temple. Like, and I know this holds true, and it will continue to hold true, that some of my former players are some of my best friends. And I know that will hold true for a very long time. A very long time. And that includes Aaliyah, that includes every player that I got the honor of coaching is in a position to do that. And I know I got in this coaching to help young people, but it's more than return the favor. And it's helped me grow as a person. It helped me love a little bit harder. It helps me sympathize a little bit better. So I want to just say thank you. Thank you for for creating this space in order for us to share who we are as people, what makes us go, what makes us love, what makes us pray, what makes us who we are. So I appreciate you for allowing me to be on, be on your podcast to share some incredible stories that I hope will continue to grow.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. And thank you to our wonderful audience for joining me. You're still second favorite Boston. I almost forgot to remind you, but you haven't shown me yet that I've moved up from second to first, but I'm taking my time. I'm trusting the process. That was the name, Coach. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. So I just want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Breaking It Down with Boston. I look forward to you joining us again. Until next time, love you. God bless you. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.